All right, guys, welcome to another episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about a couple of different things. The one thing I wanted to talk about today specifically was sort of a reflection on what happened today and what's really been happening the past several weeks, which is this is sort of a personal, um, I guess, story dilemma, which is I'm sure something that a lot of you guys can relate, at least some of you guys can probably relate to this, which is having to differentiate or compartmentalize the two aspects of being a dog trainer. And the two aspects of that, especially if you run your dog training business, which is being the business person and being the dog trainer. And I find myself being really good at, being a dog trainer, and I'm actually doing really good at handling the business part of the dog training. By that I mean, generating leads, working on my systems to make it accessible and easier for clients to reach me and to work with me. Right, so learning about sales, learning about just different aspects of the business, managing the business. Even though I don't have any employees, it's really just my wife and I doing the bulk of the work. I am doing more of the managerial part of the business, and my daughter's helping us out too with some of the day-to-day stuff. But managing the business, the logistical part of the business, like today, one of the things that I've been talking to my wife about it, and finally I made this decision today, and I was able to get a handle today, which is a common complaint for prospect clients. And that common complaint, that common objection is the price objection. All right, the price objection is a very common objection, a very common complaint when it comes to services that go into the 3 to 4 digit mark. This also depends on your area. We are in Texas, in a very small town, a very small county, tiny little town. And so our client base, a lot of them are just small town people. And when you tell small town people, hey, the price to train your dog could be $5,000 a month, that's a pretty big decision for a lot of people to make. The one of the things that we do is we sell crates, and to tell somebody, hey, the price of this crate is roughly about $500 because we're selling nice crates, right? That can be viewed as an unnecessary expense for some people, especially the small town people. Now, we could go on and on and on about the different objections and the complaints and the excuses, but my job as a business owner, my job as sort of a manager of the managerial aspect of the business is to come up with solutions. And what I'm doing to handle these things is I'm educating myself. I'm constantly reading up on on sales. That's one thing that I'm learning a lot about, right? Sales, talking to clients, handling objections, and I'm doing this constantly. Right, business coaching. I've signed up now, on a different business coaching service, where I'm surrounding myself with other entrepreneurs, different industries, and that in itself has already paid for itself, which is something I highly recommend. Those business coaching services can be very expensive, but I'm a person that likes to look at the value that things bring into me as a consumer. I'm not a bargain shopper. I don't go for the cheapest things. As a matter of fact, I have an aversion to getting cheap things because I have seen the cheaper products end up costing you more. I've seen it happen so many times that my immediate reaction is, if it's cheaper, I don't want it. I want the more expensive service, the more expensive product. So that's how I spend. That's who I am as a consumer, and that's the mindset that I have as a business person too. So when I work with people, that's the mindset that I have, and a lot of the training that I've been getting, business coaching, the reading that I've been doing, the people I've been following, the entrepreneurs that I'm surrounding myself with, that's the mindset that they want to cultivate as well, right? And one common saying as a business person is, you sell the way you spend. You sell the way you buy. So if you're cheap, and if you're stingy and you're very tight with your money, you're going to find a lot of situations in which people are very, very tight with their money. And it's sort of a very psychological, subconscious thing that you attract situations that you yourself find yourself in situations, right? So again, if you're a cheap person and you don't like to spend the extra money, you don't see the value in hiring a professional to do something. You're more of a DIYer, and you're more of a, I want to do all of this myself so I can save the most amount of money. And if I can get the cheapest possible thing, I'm going to get that. Then as a business person, you will find yourself in situations like that with customers, and you're not going to be able to handle that. And it makes sense because, if you yourself are a consumer that always wants the cheapest, and you can't see yourself spending a certain amount of money for a service or for even a product, then that means you have a lack mentality, right? That means you have a mentality of, I don't like to spend money. I like to keep it nice and tight. And when you're sold on that, then as a business owner, somebody who provides a service, when you encounter the same type of person that you are as a prospect customer, as a prospect client, then what happens is you don't know how to handle that, because deep down you agree with them, right? Imagine this. Would you be willing to spend $5,000 for a service, right? Would you be willing to spend that much for something that would create a lot of value to you? A lot of people, the answer is no, I would never do that. But a lot of these same people are charging that much for a similar service. Right? Like I've spent a lot of money on things for the business that are not even tangible yet, right? The app being one of them, right? The app is one of those tremendous expenses that I don't even want to say out loud how much money I've spent. But if I told some of you guys the amount of money that I'm in so far for this app, which I firmly believe will create value in the marketplace, right? You would think I'm crazy. As a matter of fact, I have told the amount to a couple of my friends, and they're like, what? You spend that much so far on something that you don't even have yet? And the answer is yes, because I'm very service and value oriented. So I'm okay with that because I see the potential in that. And I'm okay with losing it too. So I am perfectly okay. Just to give you an idea, apps, they can cost upwards of $20,000 to $30,000, sometimes even more, depending on how many features you have. That's the amount of money I'm looking into, right? Being all in. So that's a lot of money. Not only that, but I've also paid for coaching, for business coaching, for even to be part of a group of entrepreneurs, I've paid for that and I'm paying for that too. So that's something that a lot of people go, no, I would never do it. What's the point of that? You can find the same information on YouTube. You can find the same information on articles, and you don't need all of that. So yeah, so a lot of people have that mentality, but a lot of these people also want to go, all right, that'll be $5,000, Mrs. Jones. And when Mrs. Jones has the same attitude that you have of, well, that's a lot of money, I don't see myself spending that much money, you don't know how to handle that on a subconscious level because you agree with them in a subconscious level. And that's one of the things that I'm learning, that I've been learning. I've been like that for a very long time, but it's clicking and it's making sense, and it's now becoming very clear, very apparent as to why I'm like that. And I'm perfectly okay with spending the extra money. So when I encounter people that have that objection, I am very confident and comfortable in the product that I'm bringing into their lives, right? So one of the things that I've been encountering is people who, and I'm sure some of you guys have encountered this too, if you own your business, which is, a lot of times money gets left on the table when you have clients who are the right customer, right? They're responsible pet owners, so they're the right customer, and and they're asking for help, and they truly value what you do, and they truly value what you can bring to their lives with their dogs. They see the value in your service, but they truly do not have the funds to go, yes, sign me up for that. So I've been noticing, and some of you guys probably have too, there are some people that you just cannot reach. But here's one thing that I'm learning, right, through my studies, through reading, and through, again, getting advice and help from people that are 100 times more successful than I am. And yes, different industries, but still, entrepreneurship is entrepreneurship, business is business. And one of the things that I'm learning is, at the end of the day, as the service provider, as the business owner, it is my job. And yes, I want to qualify the prospect clients. I want to qualify the leads to make sure that they are the right client. But I need to be so service oriented that I can even find a solution for that, right? That even if you cannot afford it, that I find a solution for that is on me. That is on me to make sure that I do everything I can to facilitate you being able to afford that. And the way to do that is not by lowering the price, but by providing them with a venue, a vehicle. And so one of the things that I recently did, I have been asking some prospect clients, some people that, I see this objection with the crates that I'm selling, right? Of people that reach out to me, I want to order this, and this many crates. And obviously, they have the website as a reference. They can look at the pricing, but I also do special pricing if they have custom orders. So then when I go over that, I know the money comes up, and I understand, dog owners and dog trainers. Yeah, I mean, to tell somebody, that, for the amount of crates that you want, it's going to be about $3,000. Even though they're really nice crates, it can be a little bit hard to swallow, right? So what I've been doing is I've been asking people, hey, just let me ask you a question. If there was financing available, would that be something that would help you out, and would that help you make a decision? And the answers I've been getting is, I've been doing this as a little bit of research on my side, right? And the answer has consistently been, yeah, I think that would be a great idea. The other thing too is I have prospects that call me that see an ad or see or referrals, right? People that are told, hey, by somebody who knows me, hey, yeah, you should contact Will. They contact me, and I've had some people that have been fully sold, like sold on my what I have to offer. Right, we've done the consultation, we've talked on the phone, very service oriented, and they're like, man, like I really want to go with you, one, this guy over here is a little bit, more affordable. The pricing is a little bit different. And they're not saying this. These are genuine people. I can always tell when somebody just doesn't see the value and they go, I just want it cheaper. I don't bother with those people, and they don't bother with me either. But I've left some money on the table with people that have genuinely been very interested, right? That they're all bought in, but the obstacle that they had was, man, that's a decent amount of money, right? So I have to come up with a way to afford this. And I know this because I've also been in that situation. I've been in that situation where, like even with business coaching, where I'm like, man, like I would love to do that, but it's just, that's a pretty decent chunk of money, and I need this money for the app, and this money for this, and this money for the house, and this money for insurance, and this money for this, and groceries, and then I got 2 teenagers, and I got braces, yada, 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 a bunch of expenses, and I'm like, I would love to pay for this, this type of business coaching, but God, at the moment, I really don't have that. But through financing, right? Financing is something that I see tremendous value in. And I'm like, you know what? I could probably do that, right? And again, from learning and from reading, I'm getting these people telling me, dude, that is your responsibility. You need to figure out a way to facilitate that, to at least give them the option. At least you can take that excuse away from them. If you can facilitate financing, not lowering your price, not trusting people blindly, okay, that's not financing. If I tell Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones is fine, you can pay me in 3 installments. That's financing, but that's risky financing. Then what I'm doing is I'm telling Mrs. Jones, I trust that you will pay in these specific times the total amount. But that can get a little bit iffy. So what I did is I reached out to my network. I reached out to the group of entrepreneurs that I'm part of, and the power of networking is amazing, right? So I went and then I asked, I was like, hey guys, this is one of the concerns I'm having. What do you guys think? And then a bunch of these people, right? These are also entrepreneurs that have invested in business coaching. It's awesome. I absolutely love it, right? These are people that are like me. They see value in spending money, and they see value in service, and they also provide services, right? They're entrepreneurs in all different industries. And so I got a bunch of tips, a bunch of feedback, and right there I got somebody that hooked me up with the ability to offer financing for the business, which is, I'd already set it up today, and it's gonna be part of my pitch now, and it's gonna be one of the tools that I'm gonna have to handle that very valid objection, the financing aspect of it, which is now, and it's legitimate, right? It's not like going off of trust, like, yeah, Mrs. Jones, I trust that you will pay me, in over the next 5 months, what it took me a month to do, or a couple of months to do with your dog. Now, this is legitimate, and I'm going to be able to offer it, and it's a very legitimate part of the business. So I'm super excited about that, and yeah, so now I'll be able to help those people that I know are very, very sold, but like me, are in positions where I was at one point, or that I sometimes found myself in, where I'm like, man, I love that product, but at this very moment, that whole amount I cannot do. And yes, I do deposits. That's not financing that I'm talking about. Okay, I do deposits to reserve your spot. You have to do this deposit, and then prior to getting your dog, you have to do the rest. That's not financing. That's just splitting up your payments before all of that is done. I'm talking about the type of financing where it goes through the proper channels, where a third party handles it, and it's something, again, that I'm very excited about. So what I was thinking, the beginning of the episode, I was telling you, compartmentalizing the dog trainer and the business person. And today, especially past couple of days, where I've been, I've been like, I have to talk to this client. I got to follow up with this client. I got to send this message, and I have to, work this lead, and this and that. And I have to make sure, that I don't get too caught up in that. And I have to go, I also, need to work on my product, right? At the moment, like I said, it's just my wife, myself, my daughter helping out with some errands. But the bulk of the training is still done by me. So when I'm getting caught up in this business stuff, I'm thinking too, I'm like, okay, I have to pause throughout the day. I have to, remember to eat. That's one thing that has happened since I started really being involved in the business, which is, I'm not even finding time to eat, right? I mean, I'm doing this podcast right now and it's already past midnight. I'm doing this episode and it's past midnight. And it turns into a vicious cycle because then I'm up until like 1 or 2, and then I'm up in the morning to take care of the dogs, and I'm freaking exhausted throughout the day. And, I definitely have to get better about my time management. I know that for sure. But in general, I have to step back a little bit and go, okay, the logistical part of the business needs to be put on hold so that I can go take care of the nuts and bolts, so that I can go, work these dogs and give them the value and give the owners the value that I am so adamant about pitching, right? So when I talk to people, when I talk to prospects, I'm telling them, yes, your dog is getting this and this and this, and your dog is, even for boarding, right? Even for boarding, we offer a lot of value. For boarding, our dogs or boarding dogs are not just hanging out. Boarding dogs are exercising, they're working out, they're going for walks. So I have to make sure that I deliver on those promises, and that takes a little bit of, okay, I got to pause, take my business hat off, put my dog trainer hat on, and then I have to now, work these dogs, and then work all these dogs, and then work my dogs too, right? I have to take care of my dogs as well. I don't want to neglect my dogs, right? I compete. And then on top of that, I have PSA club twice a week, which that takes a huge chunk of time as well. And so that is, again, that's something that I know, I'm aware I have to pause. I have to hit the pause button and go, I got to be a dog trainer right now. And I have to provide the best service that I can, because that's what I'm telling people I'm doing. I never want to be, I've seen those businesses, and I've been part of those, I've worked for businesses like that have huge promises, right? But they don't fully deliver on those promises, because they're so caught up in the business. I don't want to do that, right? Nobody wants to do that. At least nobody has the intention to do that, but then it just so happens that they do get caught up in one over the other, and then the other suffers. I don't want to do that. And that's sort of the lesson that I've learned, that, not that I learned, but sort of the lesson that I've had to apply the past couple of days is that right there. So I wanted to share that, as I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. So again, my advice is, this is hard to, especially with so many things going on. Man, I'm telling you, if you're thinking about having kids, really double think that. I love my kids. I absolutely 1000% love them. I would do anything for them, and I want them to be successful, and I want them to do way better than me. And I love the fact that I have my kids and they're healthy. But man, they are expensive. They're super, super expensive, especially when unexpected expenses pop up. Right? Big unexpected expenses, unexpected medical bills pop up. And then you have expense here, expense there, expense here, expense there. We're doing well. We're not under. We are, we're striving, and we are, we're blessed that we have everything we have, but it can be a little bit difficult, and it can be very easy. Like, I've really thought to myself, I should just, maybe just stop it with the app. If I just stop with the app right now, I lost out on all the money that I put in, but at least now I have this much extra money, which is a big chunk that I get to keep per month. But it's a commitment that I don't even think anymore. Like, I don't even think about it anymore. I'm like, I have to make it happen. But things absolutely get a little bit difficult. So I'm still excited about it. I'm still pretty happy with the decision I made, and I'm very, very eager to see where the next year takes us. And when this app gets released, like I tell people, it's either going to be an awesome idea. I'm very optimistic, and I've also gotten perspective from different business people that have been involved. I've gotten some not counseling, but consultations from very successful entrepreneurs that have developed software before, and I'm super excited because again, I see that it's going to bring a lot of value. So it's either going to be that great, or it's going to be a very expensive, mistake. And I'm okay with both. That's the crazy thing. I'm not concerned that maybe it'll bomb and nothing will happen. It'll be completely a terrible idea, and it will not go according to plan at all. And if that happens, I am perfectly okay with that. And the reason why is this: I am more concerned, I'm more afraid of thinking what if than I am of thinking I did it and it failed. I did it and it failed is way, way better than what if. And I'm willing to make it, I'm willing to make it. I did it and I failed. Like, I will be happier with that than what if. Right? What if? That's the thing I don't want to carry with me. So again, all about value, service, and it is something that is going to help, I believe, and my associates believe is going to bring a lot of value. And stay tuned. I'm going to release more details as the launch of the app gets closer and closer. But super excited. But again, it gets very scary at times. And even that is a little bit exciting too. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next episode. Be safe.